that he's good for you.
How do you know what's good for me?
That's my opinion!
Don't you get it? Why can't anybody have an opinion but you?
That I don't think that he's good.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sandra P's Gen Extra. Welcome to Sandra P's Gen Extra. We are having a Friday night live to talk about Ladies of London, an explosive episode of Ladies of London, everybody. You can see Margo stars as the ugly American in her very own made-for-TV drama. So welcome. I see my friend and subscriber in the chat, American Born. She has let me know that she can hear me. Thank you so much. I appreciate your presence in the chat. Good evening. Sandra P's Gen Extra, mods and chat. Thank you so much, American Born. Thank you. And everyone come in. As you come in, if you're not already subscribed, everyone press the like button, please. Thank you so much for that. And then if you're not already subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe, because I don't know what is going on with Ladies of London. I'm hearing the numbers aren't great, but it's a really good show. It's a reboot. That's why it's listed as season 4, but it is actually all new characters. At least to me, I didn't watch the prior Ladies of London season with Caroline Stansberry. Welcome in, my moderator, Committed to the Journey. Thank you so much for coming in during the live. Hi, Sandra P. Mods in chat. And then my moderator, CC, came in. Thank you so much for coming in during the live. And she's speaking to everyone in the chat. And I just want to make sure, I like to have YouTube playing so I can see how it looks while I'm live. Everyone, you can see, we went to see Michael today, y'all. Forget what you heard. Go watch it. If you're a Michael Jackson fan, or you ever loved his music, or you're Gen X, or you're a child of the 70s, 80s, or even 90s, it's wonderful. It's focused on the music part of his life, starting from the Jackson 5 era, and it ends, and I believe it was 1988. The huge concert. This was his, the way he looked at that point. The huge concert, I think, in Romania. So it ended there, but I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I'm still kind of on a high from that because I love music. I'm a huge fan of Michael Jackson, the Jacksons. This has nothing to do with Ladies of London other than he was loved over there as well. So if you want to do something and support a movie opening weekend, it is Antoine Fuqua directed. So of course, support him. I love his movies. And that's just a little commercial on Michael. And I'll read the comments and then I will get started with this Ladies of London review. This was a chock full episode. And Margo. I have tried not to have a really strong opinion on anyone, positively or negatively, because it can impact my reviews. But Margo, I got sick of you, girl. I'm ready for you to go back to South Carolina, LA, Florida. Now she's name checking Florida, wherever else you're from, because I've been here 20 years. You don't act like it. You're a guest in someone's country, a guest in their home, and you acted a zip dang fool. But we'll get to that. American Born, welcome in, welcome in. Next week is the season finale, and I'm not happy with the short season. Yeah, I feel like we could have used a few more episodes to kind of flesh things out. Mama Bees, one of the moderators, came in. Thank you so much for joining us during the Ladies of London live. I haven't even started the review yet. Gave a little commercial on the Michael movie. I loved it. I don't listen to critics. Certain ones that I'm going to support, I support. So if you so desire, go see the Michael movie. Antoine Fuqua directed, opening weekend, which is this weekend. CC is welcoming everybody in. Thank you so much. Mama Bees is speaking to everyone. Thank you so much. And American Born has confirmed I'm sick of her as well. That will be Margo, the ugly American. So since this is a new show, I'm going to minimize myself. And that's me right there on Missy's face, Missy with the white thing around her neck. Lady Martha is slinking in the corner, looking beautiful. Micah is the very friendly etiquette coach. I like Micah a lot. She's in the pink dress. Lady Emma hosted this episode and also last Emma's episode at her estate, Longleat. She is the Marchioness of Bath, and her title is Lady Emma. This long, tall, bleached out, rude pretender to the throne, Margo, or as Kimmy so affectionately called her, South Carolina, is here in another inappropriate dress with her girls hanging out. At the bottom is the gent, Mark Francis, the only gent in the show. Kimmy is in green. And there is the lovely Lottie Dottie. She don't like to potty because she is pregnant. She and her husband Joshua are expecting their first child. And Lottie, I like more and more as the weeks go on. Lottie, as you know, cannot drink. So Lottie is a sober mind. Margo also doesn't drink, but she is a liar and a fraud. So her word can't be trusted. To me, I don't trust people that are liars and fraud, whether they're drunk or not. So, we have a couple of clear heads prevail usually, but not Margo. American Born is laughing. She says, I do as well. Make sure you put your cloak over Micah. Yes, I'm kind of concerned with the numbers. So I'll treat this reboot as a season 1, even though it's season 4. The cloak is over the entire show with the exception of Margo, and particularly draped over Micah, because she caught my heart first episode when she went through what she went through with Dara, who she thought was a friend and was not a friend. So, okay, everybody, we will start the review. And then let me present one thing. I just want to make sure it's ready, actually. Okay, this is part of the episode. It says, Lady Emma Thin reacts to Margo Stiley leaving Longleat early on Ladies of London. So that's why I'm saying that Margo was actually starring as the ugly American. And I am not going to share because I actually had to end up cutting things out. So I won't turn on any sound. If I do, it'll be less than like 5 seconds at a time, just to make sure that I'm not dinged for that. But this was a very good episode. Everyone knows, if you watch me at all, I love when any of the shows I review picks up and goes on a trip. So this is actually Lady Emma's home, but I'm still considering it a trip because it's about 2 hours outside of London, and it is a beautiful estate. And at the end, she was like, you all have to come back. Of course, Mark and Kimmy have been there many times before. So she invites them back. Let me just let you hear a little bit of what's going on, because this is going to start it. And then again, I'm not going to play it long.
Talk to me, and he left. Hello, he's my best friend. He can't leave.
Mark stormed off.
No.
That's Lottie.
Crybaby bitch. I wasn't.
Now that's Kimmy. Kimmy was cursing. I'll let Margo state her lie, and then I'll get into the review.
I projected my voice across the garden.
Come here, Mark. What's wrong? What are you scared of? Just come chat with me.
Look how Mark's looking at her. Mark had already told her that he did not desire to speak with her. This is something I want people to get. Nobody owes you engagement. If someone doesn't want to talk to you anymore, it is aggressive. It's kind of low-key stalkerish to still try to make yourself known to that person and fly up in their face. Margo is from a demographic that some of them can't seem to take no for an answer. And then we see her lie with a straight face and try to make it cute. I wasn't yelling, I projected my voice. And if you'll remember, they were all at one table. Lady Emma had the table laid out. The other table was not dressed. Margo picked up and went to the other table trying to be a diva. Some of the people joined her to check on her. She wants to call back, yell, or project her voice back over there at Mark. So that's where we're going to start off in this episode. And American Born says, Lady Emma is going to be on Watch What Happens Live next week. I'll watch that. Now, Mark Francis has already appeared, American Born. I didn't watch that episode yet. They're so short. They're 25 minutes. But can I be honest? Andy Cohen gets on my nerves. I need to watch everyone just for content. And Andy's the host, so he'll be there. But I haven't watched Mark yet, and I will. American Born, you need to behave in England. They won't put up with that with other people roaming around the estate. Exactly. That's a big part of this episode, American Born. Emma has stressed that her husband, being the visionary that he is, for an aristocrat, he has opened it to the public, and people pay to come there. And I'll let you know what happens with that while I'm reviewing it. So we'll talk about that. I'll review a couple of scenes, and then I will go in and I'll actually read comments and engage that way. And this was a pretty good episode. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend it. And I just want to make sure I can be seen in everything. Usually I'll have this running. Okay, there we are. So we're still at Longleat. This is the second episode that is at Longleat. Margo continues to show her tail. She's acting as an ugly American. She started out trying to be sophisticated, Margo. She got upset because Mark was making fun of her see-through dress behind her back. And she wanted him to know, it's a lie. It's a lie. So I guess the lie is a designer. I heard of that. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Okay, there we are. Sorry about that, everybody. So she's lies. I wasn't yelling. I was projecting my voice. So Kimmy, as you can see, she called Margo a bee and stormed off after her friend Mark. Mark is trying to stalk away everybody. They have this thing called the love maze, and it's planted with bushes. Mark can't get out, but he's walking over trying to get out. Kimmy follows him, and then Martha goes over there to make sure that he is okay. He says, I'm fine. I don't wish to talk to her. I'm not going to be in a yelling match at my friend's estate. So I agree with Mark on that, actually. So some of the table gets up and goes over to where Margo was. Margo is still, why are you scared? So now she's projecting her voice, not only from her table, but over to where Mark is in the maze. Why are you scared? He's talking to Kimmy and to Martha. I'm not scared. I don't wish to talk to her. I'm going to go back to the pub. Remember, Mark is staying in the pub on the Longleat property. And then she is saying, I don't know why he's upset. She wanted him to leave. She had made a slick comment. If I had known all I had to do was talk to him to get him to leave, I would have tried to talk to him earlier. But later on, we're going to catch Margo in another lie. So Margo's being really condescending. She gets up. She walks over to where Mark is. He wasn't able to storm out of the maze yet. And I just wanted to talk to you. He said, I don't want a scene with you. So y'all, to me, this is kind of breaking the fourth wall too. He doesn't want the scene of her yelling. She wants to do some big reality show confrontation that maybe she thinks is going to go viral or something. But y'all, I think it was a little embarrassing for Margo. I don't think she came across very well. And later, I think it's going to dawn on her. And then we're going to see some other behavior from her once it dawns on her that she's not looking good. So Mark, he's still trying to leave. He gets caught in the maze. We see a confessional from him. He says, I've been over this property for 15 years. Many times I've been in and out of the love maze. And the one time I need to make a quick exit, I cannot do it. So he's kind of laughing about that. He finally gets out and goes to where he's staying, which is the pub. So Micah is letting us know the best etiquette is to zip it. Micah's correct. Micah is an etiquette coach, but I think that she's just a kind, polite person in general and will probably be a lovely host. When she goes to people's homes, she brings gifts. She always checks on everybody. So I really like Micah. I think Micah she's acting wonderfully in this scene. And I think she's a little embarrassed of Margo. Lady Emma is sitting with Margo. Margo is sat back at the other table. And Lady Emma has let her know, that's my friend. He has always been someone that likes to do banter. He's not going to stop doing the banter. And Margo is saying that she's been there 20 years. She knows what banter is. Margo, I don't think you do. Martha somehow comes up with the conclusion, I blame myself. I shouldn't have went over there and told Mark to come and talk to Margo. That was not Martha's fault. If I blame anybody, I'll blame probably 80% Margo, maybe 20% Mark, because Mark will talk about you behind your back. Margo is a little bit unhinged. I don't think he did anything to have Margo talking to him the way that she did. When she was talking to him, I hope I wrote notes for this whole scene. He was saying, when she was telling him, I just want to talk. I don't want to have a big scene. And he's saying, darling. And she says, don't touch me. Y'all, that gets under my skin when people do that. You can tell an aggressive touch from just getting someone's attention. But again, she's right. Don't touch her, Mark. She says, don't touch me. And he said, okay. And she said, I just want to know why you're always talking about me behind my back. He said, I'm obsessed with you. And she says, yeah, you're obsessed with me. And he said, who wouldn't be obsessed with you? Look at you. And she said, you're weird, but you're weird. You don't like me and you're obsessed with me. You're weird. So now she's changing kind of the way this conversation is. the people that are over there saying, don't call him weird. He said, okay, I've had enough. I'm done. And he really does exit the maze the best that he can. So South Carolina has showed her tail. Y'all, I'm embarrassed for her, but not as an American, because she's not representing me. She's representing the people that do that. And we know there's a whole group of people that love to go somewhere, be loud, and act like they don't have any sense. So Margo goes back to the table. She says, they all sit back down at the original table. Margo says, I'm going to get my jacket. Y'all, she gets this horrible little roadkill fur and puts it over her shoulder. She really thinks she did something. So this was a mess. Lady Emma says, tomorrow I have things planned. We're going to all meet in the morning and start this again. I thought this was pretty terrible. So the group breaks up earlier than Lady Emma intended because of Margo's actions, but they all go back to their various cottages. And Micah, South Carolina, and Lottie are locked out of their gardener's cottage, but the window is wide open. Y'all, what sense does that make? I guess when they closed the door, it locked behind them. Lottie said, well, we never got a code. I think Lady Emma came around and let everyone in, but I don't know if they didn't recall the code or what. Lottie says, I'll crawl in the window. And Micah said, you most certainly will not. Y'all, South Carolina and her horrible little roadkill jacket, she's used to crawling in windows, I guess. She got right in the window and let them in. Micah and Lottie cheer. Good job, South Carolina. We knew you were a rat. Crawl right in the window. So we go to the other cottage. I would have wanted to be in this other cottage, y'all. They had Lady Emma, they had Missy, Lottie, and okay, wait a minute. Lady Emma, Missy, and Kimmy. Kimmy is making omelets. We're going to find out later that Kimmy is a chef. Kimmy went to Le Cordon Bleu, which is a very prestigious cooking school. I'm not going to call it a franchise, but I'm going to say, I think the name, I feel like there's more than one Le Cordon Bleu. So I guess the most famous one is in France, but Kimmy, I'm sorry, I had to wash it going. I think it just stopped. Kimmy is, she's a chef. So we'll find out later when they tour. There's a cheddar factory on the grounds. They're going to tour that. So we'll find out more about that later. So Kimmy's making an omelet and she's telling Missy and Martha, she says, if you give eggs, you make an omelet, it just smooths the edges, makes the world a better place. Meanwhile, Margo is lying. I didn't want Mark to leave. I just wanted him to talk to me. Now, remember, Margo had literally joked, if I had known he would leave, I would have talked to him sooner. But she knows there's cameras there, but she doesn't realize that there's cameras catching everything. So this is not for you. I don't like one season wonders generally, unless it's a serious situation, like maybe a Brit Edie situation. But I'll say it now, early in the review, I don't have to see Margo back. I don't think she fits. I don't think she fits. I think these group of friends are trying to just have their regular life experience on camera for a reality show. And Margo is trying to present herself as something that she's not. The other people don't have her crazy script, whatever it is, and it's just making things awkward for everybody. And I don't like it. So Lottie is saying any person who doesn't understand begins with an M and it ends in an Argo. And she's saying that because Lady Emma has come in. Lady Emma visited each cottage. So Lady Emma says Mark is her friend and he's just bantering. But of course, Margo doesn't get it. We get a confessional from Margo telling us again that she has been in the United Kingdom for 20 years. We know Margo, we know. But again, I don't think that she understands the banter. And Mark, can he be a little biting and sarcastic? Yes, he can. But I think he would actually appreciate it if she would give it back to him. I'm going to stop for a moment, read comments, engage with the comments, and then go back to the scene. Welcome in, Toot Latrice. Toot, toot. It is good to see you in the chat. I appreciate it. This is the new Ladies of London, actually a reboot. So it's season 4, episode 9, Whey Out of Line. But they spell Whey like W-H-E-Y, like a little Miss Muffet eating her cords in whey. So they're going to have a cheese factory visit. It's a play on words, but this is a really witty production company. And the cast they've had a blowout because of Margo, otherwise known as South Carolina, and we're trying to get everything kind of back in place. They're still away on a trip to Longleat. Let me make sure I didn't miss any other comments, and then I'll complete the review. I saw a few from American Born related to the episode, so I do want to get that one. She is such a drama queen. She is American Born. She's a drama queen. And CC spoke to everyone. Mama B spoke to everyone. 2 came in speaking. Micah has my cloak. Let's see. Everyone is speaking to Toot, saying, hey, Toot Toot. American Born is laughing. Probably about Margo's horrific little roadkill jacket. This lady is just terrible. I wonder if she would have taken this job if she knew that she was going to come across like this. And it's not editing. She's not a great person. What she's showing me so far. That was so interesting. I had no clue they made cheese there. I didn't know it either. Margo can go. American Born is waving goodbye. Me too. And I don't do that so early, but Margo can go because she's really hurting the integrity of the show. To me, she's trying too hard and it's not landing. It doesn't fit. So Kimmy is offering Patron or a Mirabelle. They start laughing. I don't know what a Mirabelle is. I guess it's some type beer. She says, should we start Patron or should we be healthy and drink a Mirabelle? And they all laugh. Mark is chilling alone. I'm with you, Mark. Sometimes when I'm around too many people and get overstimulated, I need a minute to just woosah. So I would have wanted to be where Mark was, or either in the same cabin as Kimmy and Missy. So it's the next day. Lady Emma has set up a lunch. The group starts to approach in threes. Mark is saying he does not want a repeat of yesterday. He doesn't want yesterday to impact today. And he doesn't want to be an attention seeker. Sorry, Mark. You're dealing with somebody that seeks attention, so it's going to happen. Micah, Lottie, and Margo arrive last. And South Carolina says, F-U-N. She names each one of the girl an initial. F-U-N. You can't spell fun without F-U. So she's saying that she wants to start anew today as well. Lady Emma walks in. She has these aviator shades. And when she comes over there, Mark says, are you going to jump out of a plane? Lady Emma starts laughing. You see how that works, Margo? He's making fun of her. She's laughing. So Lady Emma is bearing gifts. She says, I have something for everyone. It's this cute little teddy bears. She lays out the trip. She says, I'm going to let you choose. There's going to be giraffe feeding, or there is going to be you tour the cheddar factory. So that's what I can't remember if Lady Emma was in there, but I know Kimmy was because she was teacher's pet. I know that Mark was, and I know that Micah was. Now the other ladies decided to do, no, everyone's going to do giraffe feeding. There was another cave tour that was going to be Missy, Lottie, and South Carolina. So they're in 2 separate sprinters to decide to go where they're going to go. So the activities are split into groups. And Lady Emma says, I feel that Margo and Mark would not want to be in the same group, and everybody appreciates that. Lady Emma, I have to say, handled this with a lot of grace. Mark Francis is her best friend, and maybe the little poking he was doing behind Margo's back, to some people it might be a lot, but everything that Mark said about her, someone brought to her. Lottie, Missy. So there was a lot of back and forth going on in the group. And then Margo is very thin-skinned when it comes to herself, but episodes 1 and 2, she didn't mind calling Dara a madam. And I think those rumors were part of the reason Dara left the show. And I think that Dara would have made a pretty good villain. I think she kind of exited too early. I wish she had stayed. So Micah is saying, oh, also, I forgot, when Margo went over to try to get Mark to talk to her one last time, she called him weird. I think some more behind the scenes happened. She called Mark a freak and referenced him as a freak. And production is going to show Margo saying that a few times because she's going to deny it when it comes up with Missy and Lottie. Freak is a pretty strong word, and I don't like her calling him a freak. Again, all of Mark's criticisms of Margo have been about her clothes. She's in a see-through dress at Longleat. I didn't think it was appropriate. Mark didn't think it was appropriate. Lady Emma didn't say anything, but I don't think she thought it was appropriate. Margot's criticisms of Mark have been, your parents disowned you. We find out that's a trigger for Mark later, and she is now calling him a freak. So she's not matching fire with, I mean, she's not doing equal fun shade. She's using a blowtorch to kill an ant, or however you want to put it. Lottie has told Margo, you can't fight nastiness with nastiness, because Margo has started this whole new narrative in the van. Remember, we saw her yelling from one table to the other. Then she had the nerve to say she wasn't yelling. She was just projecting her voice. So we've seen Margo lie in real time to make herself look better. She's doing that again in the van. And I'm just starting to feel like people are making fun of me. They're bullying me. And she's doing all this. Lottie is saying, well, you can't fight nastiness with nastiness. I don't believe you're being bullied. Mark is doing what Mark does. He's speaking about your clothes. Now, in fairness to Margo, Lottie, all of your little cute suits are custom made by your husband. You're pregnant and you're a local. So Mark's not going to make fun of you. So what he is doing with Margo, she's very thin-skinned, and I can understand it. So Mark, maybe divvy that up amongst everybody. Now, we saw him make fun of his own friend, but she laughed about it. Missy is also weighing in. She said, I didn't like when you called him a freak. Margo lies again, y'all. She said, I didn't call him a freak. I called him weird. I didn't call him a freak. And they said, you called him a freak. You don't call anyone a freak. She says, well, maybe I did. I think he's freaky. I think he's a freak. She was saying it in a venomous way. I didn't like the way she was saying that about Mark. In the other sprinter, we have Kimmy, we have Micah, Mark, Lady Emma is in there, and they're speaking about the freak comment. Martha had the nerve to say, I don't think she meant it like that. Kimmy said, the one person is a different sexual persuasion and you're calling them a freak. She meant it like that. Martha says, I don't think she meant that. Mark says, I'm getting out. Now they're driving, y'all, across the estate. I'm getting out. I'm getting out. She said, please don't get out. Don't get out. So they shut that down. There will be no defense of Margo in the Mark sprinter. And I agree with Mark. So Mark gets a little bit emotional. He says, I have been 20 years called a freak, called everything. I cannot bring the person that I love and introduce them to my parents because I'm a freak. They think I'm a freak. And y'all, he got very emotional. We get a confessional with Lady Emma, and she says, I've known Mark for 15 years and I've never seen him express this kind of emotion. And I didn't know some of the things that he was going through. So y'all, my heart went out to Mark Francis a little bit, and Mark can be a little annoying too, but he hasn't done anything venomous or terrible to anybody. His little gossip is not worse than any of the other little gossip. I think Margo's gossip and some of her jokes are very damning about people. I don't like it. I don't care for it. So Missy and Lottie are expressing how wrong it is for Margo to be calling a freak. Meanwhile, they're driving toward the caves or wherever they're supposed to be. They get there and there's a bench with this a cartoon figure on it, and there's a cave. I wrote it down, so hopefully I'll run across it. Missy was bringing up, and other people didn't like a jumpsuit. Two of your friends said it first. Production shows us Martha saying, I'm not crazy about the crushed velvet. And I think Kimmy had a comment as well. She said, but you didn't pay attention when they made fun of it. You just fixated on Mark. And now Margo's saying, I'm starting to feel like attacked. You don't tell me mean-ish. You're saying mean-ish. Now, I don't know if Margo's talking about what they're saying to her now, if she considers it mean-ish because they're saying you call Mark a freak and that wasn't right, or if she's saying they are bringing bones back to her. She wouldn't know half the stuff Mark said if it wasn't for Lottie and Missy. Both of these two ladies are run-tell-thats. They do. They run back and they tell it. So Margo's crying. I don't know what's going on. I can't stop crying. Just give me a minute. Give me a minute. So the van gets to where it's going. There was again, the bench. Missy's like, I got a wee. She jumps out. I didn't realize Missy was in shorts with some cowboy boots, y'all. She runs over to the restroom. She goes in there, and we start to see production, the way they're moving the cameras. We do see that there are people, paid customers. Shout out to the Baron or whatever his title is. There are people that actually are on Longleat, touring Longleat, getting ready to go to these cave events. Margo's hyperventilating. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. She's inside the van. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Lottie and Missy have gotten out. Lottie came out the No, Lottie didn't go in the bathroom. That was Missy. Missy ran to the restroom. They sat on the bench. Lottie said, I think it was, I didn't come across the name yet, y'all. I'm sorry. Oh, the producer is asking Margo, do you need medical attention? No, I just can't breathe. Now, if you really can't breathe, you need medical attention. Margo was faking that panic attack, everybody. And that's my opinion. That's the way I feel about it. Everything is alleged. In my own opinion, if I share anything, it is covered under the Copyright Act of 1976, Section 107. Margo, South Carolina, you're a liar and the truth ain't in you. So I don't believe it. She's hyperventilating. I can't breathe. So they said, you don't want medical attention? No, I just can't breathe. He says, well, I think you should go back to Longleat. I guess that's the main part of the estate, and just kind of relax a little bit. So she's like, just doing all this in the van. Y'all, that little stuffed teddy bear was laying there kind of looking like, what in the world is going on? This is crazy. I don't believe her. So she gets out and Missy says, well, what's going on? Are you okay? No, I'm not okay. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Missy said, well, maybe it's postpartum. Margo jumps on that. Yeah, it's postpartum. Now, y'all, she done enrolled a little girl in college. Not really, but it's, and let me not go there because I'm hearing that postpartum can go a few years, but she has a larger toddler. The little girl's walking, talking, everything. Little girl got sunglasses, walked up the stairs. I like this new house. She's a baby, but she's not a baby. So Margo, you're lying. Because if Margo indeed had postpartum, we would have been hearing about that all along. So Martha is in the other van. She's saying, Mark, I love you. And he's saying, you don't have to coddle me. She says, I'm not coddling you. I'm just letting you know I appreciate you being so open. I love you. I'm sorry about everything that's going on. Martha is blaming herself. Martha, you didn't do anything. Martha's standing between two friends who both could relax a little bit. Margo more than Mark. But Martha definitely did not do anything. So Margo's lying, I can't stop crying. I can't stop crying. So she's crying. She's doing all of this. Lottie and Missy are sitting on a bench looking at her. This is terrible. So I feel like she took an acting job on a reality show and the others aren't going along with what she wants them to do. And now she's upset. So Missy says in a confessional, Margo's not winning. And then she went to being too personal because she's impulsive and she thinks that we're antagonizing her and that we're against her. So Missy kind of clocks what Margo did. We get a confessional from Lottie. Lottie says pretty much the same thing. Lottie's the youngest, but she's pretty smart. Lottie, she's incredibly in tune to what was going on to the situation. She says that she thought that we would be agreeing with everything she was saying. And since we weren't, that is when she got upset and started uncontrollable crying. She says, and lady, how long are you going to cry? She said, there were a lot of children walking by those caves and they were like, what's going on in those caves? So y'all, Margo is impacting the other paid guests at Longleat. This is not good. This is very ugly. It's embarrassing. You should be ashamed of yourself. So we go over to the other tour. It's called Cheddar. Mark is asking, how long has Cheddar been a part of Longleat? Lady Emma gets to spill all her knowledge about Longleat. They get there. They meet the head cheesemaker or whatever his title is. I'm sorry. And he lets us know Cheddar is an Anglo-Saxon word. Oh, congratulations. You came up with something. So that's Anglo-Saxon word. Mark and Kimmy are asking detailed questions. Kimmy's standing up there. And it's allowed to be called cheddar in other parts of the world due to the process. And they show us her little picture when she was in cordon bleu, y'all. Kimmy she's a mistress of all trades. She does a lot of things. Kimmy's very impressive. I make fun of Kimmy, but I like Kimmy. Let me see if I can show a quick picture of Kimmy. Kimmy is, she's prominent right there. I don't have to do anything crazy. There's Kimmy in green. And let me catch a few more comments. Linnell Seiler came in. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the live Ladies of London review, season 4, episode 9, Chords and Whey. And we have there's more than one American, but Margo is the one that's wearing it on her sleeve. She is acting a fool on Longleat. Committed to the Journey. Sandra P., I'm new to this show. It seems interesting, but it appears to be like so many of the other reality shows. Yeah, Committed to Journey. I can see why you think that, but here's the difference. It is based in London. Of course, that's the main difference. It's centered around a group of friends. That is similar but different. These friends, actually know each other. When they say, we've known each other 20 years, production will put up a slew of pictures from Indeed 20 years ago, and they all have known of each other quite a long time. And the friendships and relationships are real. Even with episode 1, there was a lady called Dara. She's supposed to be best friends with Micah, but only on Micah's part. Dara's like, I don't know her like that. I don't know her like that. But Lottie, I won't say she had proof. She did have proof. They went to the University of Florida or the University of Miami together. They've known each other over 20 years. Dara was just distancing herself for her own purposes. But I do like that about this show, Committed to the Journey. I think it has a little edge over the other shows, and it's kept me engaged the whole time. Some of my favorite shows, I feel like, are acting at this point. I'm getting quite annoyed with it, to be honest. Even though I'm entertained, I'm getting annoyed. Welcome in, Linnell Seiler. Good to see you during the live. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for coming in. American Born says she thought she could keep it going and got mad they called her out on her BS. Yes, and thank you for saying that, American Born, because when Margo was doing all of that, she did go too far when she lied and said, I didn't call him a freak, I called him weird. And then she said, yeah, he is a freak. He's freaky to me. He's a freak. He's a freak. He doesn't like me, yet he wants to touch me. Margo, people like her are so dangerous with the language that they use. He was just like, darling. And she said he wants to touch her. He didn't want to touch you. Margo is one of the people that are pretty dangerous. There's a lady, Emmy, and I don't watch this show, but the situation's so big, I've heard of it, on Southern Hospitality. She accuses the one black man, Brad, of he was being aggressive. It wasn't in person, y'all. It was a text. And he was speaking to me aggressively. And then he was outside the hotel room, some kind of cast event. I was in the bed naked. I was scared. I was scared. We find out none of this happened the way this lady said. And the one time Brad tried to speak to her about it, she started crying. She had her tears on. It's just dangerous the way some of these people will twist a story to suit them. And that's why I want Margo to go. CC is speaking to Linnell Seiler and everyone that came in. There's 5 likes and 7 in the chat. Thank you so much, everyone that's come in, like the video. You can like it upon leaving if you want. But if you're not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. I appreciate all that assistance to a growing channel. And Team Replay, if you're watching later, if you would please like the video and also hype the video. That is a feature. It's on the same page as where you like. Hype. You only get 3 per week, and I would appreciate 1. It really helps. American Born says that was a performance. She wasn't having an attack. Please. I didn't think she was either, AB. I didn't buy it. And Lottie and Missy didn't want to say it, but I don't think they bought it either. Yeah, that girl needs to go after doing that to Brad on the show. Yes, I'm interested. I haven't even watched 1 full episode. I may watch the reunion. Same thing with that other show. That is going, the Sierra. I'm going to put that in an extra. Sierra is just announced that she and also Maura will be on Dancing with the Stars. So I think I may watch this season, everybody. I haven't watched Dancing with the Stars in years. So Lottie and Missy are talking about what happened. Margo is sent away by production to rest back at Longleat. She caught the vapors. South Carolina caught the vapors with the problem that she started. We get a confessional with Lottie, and she says, I'm not in agreement with calling anybody a freak. Margo, she said, Margo went too far calling a freak. My husband, Joshua, has been attacked for 20 years over how he looks, how he dresses. And so I don't agree with that. I think that Margo went too far. And Missy says also she thinks that Margo went too far. So first Margo tried to lie. When caught, she caught an attack and then she had to leave. So Lottie says, I think that we should call Micah and let her know what's going on, because Micah is friends with Margo as well. Martha's friend with Margo as well. So they get on a FaceTime after Margo was taken away shaking. They get in on a face call and they let Micah know what happened. Micah's in a cute little hat. She says, what happened? And they said, Margo got a little upset. She couldn't breathe. She started crying. And Micah right away kind of knows what time Margo's on. She says, well, did anything trigger it? And Missy said, that would have been me. Missy didn't trigger it. Missy's very direct. I think it's a kind of an English as a second language thing. She's very direct, but she wasn't saying anything untrue or even mean to Margo. When Margo was saying, "Stop telling me mean-ish," nobody was being mean to her. They were just telling their side of it. Lottie even said, she said, "Well, I'm pretty smart. If you're going to be my friend, listen to what I'm saying sometime." And I agree with Lottie. Just because she's younger doesn't mean that she doesn't have a good point in what she's saying. So Micah lets them know she's going to check on Margo. She hangs up, goes back to the group, and the group is like, "Well, what happened?" He said, "Oh, that face, what happened?" Just that Margo is upset. She kind of had an attack. She's back at Longleat or whatever. And Kimmy says, "You mean she's sad?" And Micah said, "It might have been more than that. I don't know." But Lady Emma's the host. Margo is not called Lady Emma and said dog. So this is someone, even though she pretends she has this genteel upbringing, you all saw her crawling in that window with that little dead roadkill around her neck. Margo, in my opinion, ain't nothing but trash. Okay, so they are touring the Cheddar Factory. Lottie and Missy was talking about what happened. They are sitting there. Lottie is trying not to laugh at the character that's on the end of the bench. She said that whole thing was ridiculous. And then Martha is telling the group, "I don't know what's going on." She says, "I knew Margo 20 years ago. Back in the day, she was this fun person. Now she just takes everything so seriously. I don't recognize her." So they're still discussing Margo freaking out. Mark says, "I just think it's a charade." Charade, but he pronounced it like charade. You know how Mark is. And he said, "She's done everything to come across as this confident woman, but when confronted, she absolutely is not that. And I don't care." So Mark still doesn't care. I happen to agree with Mark. I'm kind of over it. Lottie is over her as well. She says that Margo is not acting as a friend. She won't take advice. I think I already mentioned that Lottie had said that. Lady Emma had a lunch at the pub set up. Y'all, Margo put a dent in all of Lady Emma's plans, but I think the weekend still went really well. But Margo was a horrible host. Lady Emma says, "I've had difficult events over the years, but this has been one of the tough ones." And she starts laughing. She says, "You learn, it can be challenging." So Margo's ruining this. I don't like it. They all kind of exclaim over Lottie's little baby bump. Lottie, I'm trying to say, Lottie is cute to me. So she got this, she's kind of dressed like Prince, y'all. I don't know why. One of these little custom suits. So they all start eating, and the ones that drinking, they're talking. And Margo left without saying anything to anybody, like the terrible guest that she is. Martha's worried about her. She says, "I haven't heard a word from her. I'm worried about her." And Kimmy says, "Well, she's probably not thinking about you. She didn't say anything." And Martha says, "I think it's incredibly rude to at least not apologize to Lady Emma." But we'll see what she's going to do. She's not going to apologize. Okay, now this is the time I'm going to present this article again. Okay, let me see. I think I moved in front of it. Let's see. There we are. Okay, I'm going to go back, present this article, and then finish with the review. I'll see if Bravo TV puts anything different in here from what we actually saw during the episode. This is Lady Emma speaking. They have a lot of commercials. Lady Emma, let's see. She's by Lady Emma Thin's own rubric. Margo Stiley's unexpected departure from Longleat on Ladies of London, The New Reign, marked a failure in her hosting duties. I don't see it as that. As a host, you don't ever want anyone to feel anything negative, Emma explained in an episode 9 confessional. You want everyone to have a glorious time and leave feeling better than they did when they came. If they're not happy, then I feel like I failed. Following the fourth wall breaking drama involving Mark francisvandelli, as well as a tense conversation with Lottie Kane and Missy Bakiri afterward, Margo had a panic attack while en route to a group activity in Somerset. At the suggestion of the production team, she returned to Longleat by herself and decided to pack up and leave Lady Emma's historic estate without informing any of her castmates. All along, Lady Emma had sided with her best friend Mark, describing Margo's earlier behavior as uncivilized and telling her on multiple occasions that Mark's shady comments about her fashion choices were simply not that deep. As the Marchioness of Bath, that's her title, saw it, Mark's digs were just a part of his sense of humor rather than personal attacks on Margo. I happen to agree with her. I don't see it as her taking sides. She has every right to give her opinion. There's a picture of both of them. Look pretty there. Oh, that's from the cast shot. It's just a close-up. That's Lady Emma, of course, in black, and South Carolina over here in whatever color that is. Even so, Margo was the lone Ladies of London cast member who did not show up for her dinner at the Bath Arms on Longleat Estate. She just left. She just evaporated, Emma said in a confessional. She also expressed concern for Margo to the rest of the group, who could not believe that Margo had apparently taken off back to London without saying a word to their gracious host. How are we going to find out if she's all right, Emma wondered before further remarking, well, that's a shame. Why Margo Stiley left Longleat early on Ladies of London, the new reign. When the group split in two, Margo headed to explore the Cheddar Caves with Lottie and Missy. During their car ride there, the two told Margo they did feel bad for Mark, who said she had allegedly called him a freak. Come on now, production. We saw it on camera. She called that man a freak. She said, I didn't say it. Well, maybe I called him weird. Well, maybe I did call him a freak. He is a freak. He's a freak. And she repeatedly said it and was really mean about it. They explained how Mark had been triggered by the word due to past bullying related to his sexuality. Though Margo pointed out that she'd only called Mark weird during their confrontation, she nonetheless added, I do find him freaky. He is a freak. Whereas Lottie and Missy saw Mark's making fun of Margo's style as humor, the duo said they felt her response had crossed the line into something personal. These are my feelings exactly. Lottie, for one, advised Margo not to fight nastiness with nastiness. What's more, the pair told Margo it was actually the women in the group, whom she considered to be her close friends, who were speaking negatively about her. We saw Martha say, I don't like that crushed velvet. And Margo didn't say a word. That led them to question why she had an issue with Mark, but not the others. They also said Margo appeared to be vain based on how she discussed designers and price tags. I forgot to add that, and she kept responding, it's an Alaye, whatever the dress was. You're saying really mean things to me, Margo responded through tears. It makes me feel more insecure. And then you're like, why are you acting like this? Like, God, we're just being peacekeepers. You just told me extra mean-ish that I don't need to know. Stop telling me things that people are saying about me behind my back. Mark was talking behind her back. And again, I did tell you the bone carriers were little Miss Lottie Dottie and Missy. This looks like just a review, everybody. Okay, Margo, we had enough of you, girl. Let me go back to the review. I'll read a couple of comments first. Okay, that was Southern Hospitality. I was talking about Emmy and Brad. Yes, I'll be watching and voting this season on Dancing with the Stars. American Born, I will as well. I wish all the best to Sierra. And Maura too. I'm interested to see her little clothes that she wears. I was going to say uniforms. Rude, just rude to leave without saying anything. Yeah, I found that to be very rude. And I thought that Emma was a lovely host. I don't like the way that Margo conducted herself at all. She showed poor home training. So then, as we do with these cast trips, they wrap everything up, kind of talk about everything that happened during the trip, and they head back to London. So Micah calls, and she tries to find out what's going on with Margo. Margo invites Micah over. Micah goes over there. And then she asked her, she got ready to lie. She said, have you ever had a panic attack? Micah said, yes. And then Margo says, oh, well, I hadn't. But this one went on for days. Now, I've never had one. I've known people that have one. They said it feels like a heart attack. You can't breathe. Some people even go to the emergency room because they feel that way. But one thing I'll bring up before they get back to London, the last dinner, they really had fun. And a couple people were even saying they felt relieved. They were joking with each other. Of course, Kimmy and Mark were cracking jokes the rest of the night. And Lady Emma was one of the people that felt relieved, as well as Lottie. And they asked Lottie, well, Lottie, how are you? How are you feeling? And Lottie said all of that anxiety that she was putting out there, some of it was kind of getting to me, but I just took a walk outside. And we did see Lottie remove herself from the sprinter, sit on the bench, and then her and Missy had a talk. So that was very overbearing of Margo to kind of take over the whole trip, even in her absence. I didn't like that. So Micah goes to Margo to visit her, and she wants to know, is Margo okay? Margo's saying she's not okay. She has this days-long panic attack where she cannot breathe. She can't control her crying. And now Micah has picked up the postpartum story time. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but that's what they're saying. So she says, I think of Martha every time a panic attack comes on. But over days and days, Margo, you're thinking of Martha, but you couldn't call her. I found that incredibly rude. She didn't call not only Lady Emma as the host, but she didn't call her good friend Martha as well. And we saw Martha taking up for her time and time again. We see Martha and Kimmy on the phone. Kimmy is telling Martha, what did you think about her not even contacting you or anything? Martha is a little hurt by it. And Kimmy says, I bet she doesn't even care. She wants you to check on her, but she's not the type of friend that checks on you. And Kimmy is indeed right about that. So we're back at Margo's house that she is renting while she has this other job. Last week, we saw her bring her husband and his 2 sons to live with her in London. I don't know, Margo. Let's hope this other job you have, you keep up with, because I don't know. I don't want you back here. So her and Micah are still talking about what happened at Longleat. We get a confessional from Micah that says, as an etiquette coach, everybody needs their own personal etiquette coach, but she would advise Margo to zip it. So they're going to pregame what she's going to tell Mark if she gets to see him again. And she says, I'm going to say, look. And then Micah says, no, don't start with look. That's kind of accusatory. And then Margo says, well, the things that I want to say, I probably shouldn't say. And Micah says, yes, that's right. Listen to me. So Micah is actually having to help dictate a letter that would be calm enough for Mark to possibly consider having a coffee or having tea with Margo. So South Carolina, you just don't have any manners. That man insulted your clothes, and you talked about his parents and called him a freak. And now you want to get together with him, and you still don't know how to put together a letter? This is crazy. So Kimmy says that Kimmy is telling Martha that Margo is full of ish. And Margo is talking to Micah, claiming that the freak comment, the word just was not intended to hurt him in that way or to be that deep. Now she's trying to use their words. Lady Emma says the clothing thing was not that deep. Lottie says the same thing. I happen to agree. Clothes is one thing. Speaking about someone's parents, disowning them or not wanting them. And you don't have to be a rocket science to figure out it could be because Mark is gay. But we haven't, other than him being flamboyant, he hasn't discussed anything about his personal life other than he did mention a partner this episode. I find that kind of sad that everyone else can talk about their love, their life, their partners, their husband, their wife, and Mark's not able to do so because he's gay. And she did try to use that as a sword against him. She meant to cut him with that, and she did. So Kimmy's right saying that Margo's full of itch. She is. And Micah is saying, I know I might be just rose-colored glasses, but I see a scenario where he and you are just skipping down the street, just laughing. Micah, I like you, but honey, I don't see a scenario where Margo is skipping down the street laughing with Mark Francis. I don't see it. I don't think it'll ever happen. Margo literally says, hurt people hurt people. Girl, shut up. I told y'all she was acting. This is so ridiculous. Just sickening. So Margo says she's going to get in touch with Mark. She does want to meet with him, and she wants to make the situation right. I think she realized that she's not the star of this thing, and she can't continue to act this big fool. If they get a second season, she does want to be asked back. And she has offended, to me, with the exception of Micah, almost everyone on the cast. Because Martha says they've been friends 20 years, and this new Margo is unrecognizable. Now, that is another thing Mark said behind her back. He met a friend at a party that he hadn't seen in years. The friend had not seen Margo in years, and that the new Margo is unrecognizable. So if people are calling you fake, then it just might be you. So Micah says that if you're in the wrong and you can't see it, and everyone says that you're wrong, maybe you're wrong. Margo just shrugs. She don't want to hear it. So Micah basically ghost writes the note that they're going to give to Mark. So I feel like we're going to see a scenario where Mark sits down with Margo. Oh, we are, y'all. There was a preview. Margo is going to call Mark big personality and fake to his face. And then she's going to mention that the freak reference was about his behavior and not him as a person. So Mark is going to say, she is a lunatic. I agree with Mark. Margo is a dangerous type person. She knows exactly what she's doing. And she's not someone I'd want to be around. Somebody that can just rework the truth like that, that's dangerous. That is dangerous. American Born trying to get an increase for Hagar A. I'd rather they add the bird to the cast and let Margo go. Me too. Cece said they could hire ex-Countess Luann for etiquette. They could. Countess Luann. Oh, remember that time, Alex? It was an early season. She came bouncing down the stairs. Well, that was about her fashion, too. And Countess Luann said, you came running down the steps in your Herman Munster shoes. And Alex says, they're Louis Vuitton. And she said, even Louis Vuitton made mistakes, darling. Now, that is funny. That's fashion. It's not saying anything terrible about Alex. American Born is laughing at Cece. Countess Luann, Andy loves her. We're going to see her doing something. Countess Luann could come and sing, money can't buy you class. Elegance is learned, my friends. She is a mess. He had her on Love Hotel. Luann pulled at Love Hotel, y'all. She left with a man, and they dated for a few months. She couldn't stand Alex. No, she couldn't. Alex had to grow on me, and Simon as well. Simon was the first one to start calling the women, see you next Tuesday. So Erica Jane, you didn't actually invent that. We've seen that before on Housewives. So y'all, that was the end of episode 9. This was a really good episode. I'm going to have to give it a 9 because they were still on the trip. So I always give extra points for that. And then we had the explosive argument between Margo and Mark continue. Kimmy cussed out a little bit. Lady Emma tried to keep everybody calm as well as Micah. Those are two friends that I would like to have. I really like Micah and I really like Lady Emma. Kimmy's growing on me. Mark is growing on me. Lottie Dottie, I like her too. So I think this is a really cute show. I like it. Committee to the Journey says kind of similar to a lot of shows. I get that, but I think this is a good one. I think they have a winner if they give it a chance. I know you're pretty, but this is my city. I like the show. A 10, American Born, A+. I'm giving it a 10 for the wild animals. That's right. I forgot that whole scene, y'all. They were, after Margo was doing all her shenanigans, Lady Emma allowed them to feed giraffes. We saw Missy on the phone with her children, telling him that she's going to bring a picture of the giraffes. And also Kimmy called her twins and said they're bringing stuffed animals. They're going to show actual pictures of the giraffes. So this was a great trip to Longleat. And they didn't see everything. Lady Emma and Dennis said, I'm going to have everybody back except Margo. Don't invite that vampire back into your home, Lady Emma. So they're going to come back and get to see more of it. I thought this was excellent. I loved it. We are right at an hour. I'm putting together extras, everybody, because there's been a lot going on in the YouTube streets related to different Bravo shows. I haven't watched the Beverly Hills reunion yet. I didn't actually, I didn't recap any of that because I'm sick of the Beverly Hills ladies, but the reunion looks pretty good. So that'll be covered in kind of an extra, and then I'll go through the comments. So a 10, I gave it a 9. American Born gave it a 10. This was an explosive episode. It was very good. Lady Emma gave them animals to take home as well. Just a great host. She was a wonderful hostess. I really like Lady Emma. Yeah, she did. She gave them stuffed animals. That was really cute. Yes, to extras. American Born has complimented the extras, provided information for the extras, some good boiling hot tea, Real Housewives of Rhode Island tea, which I really appreciated. And I had a good time doing the extras. It was good. The first part of the reunion. Okay, I'm going to watch that after this. So everybody that has joined Sandra P's Gen Extra for the live, you dropped down in the chat or you stayed in the bushes. I appreciate you, each and every one. 2 of my moderators came in, CC and Mama Bees. Thank both you ladies. I always appreciate you, the work that you put into the unpaid job. So thank you so much, everybody. And again, if you want to see something good this weekend, Michael Jackson. Michael, the movie directed by Antoine Fuqua, full of music and just, of course, the early story. And it only goes up through 88, I believe, the last huge solo concert tour that he got to do. I loved it. I loved it. And oh, you should cover the drama with Drew and Ralph. Oh, thank you. Yes, honey. Drew is now saying more things about Ralph, which I kind of believe. Ralph seems the type. So Ralph may have put hands and feet on, she said, dear son. I think she means Josiah. Y'all, I hate it. I hate it. Thank you so much for joining me. So I'll get an extra in this weekend and we'll join. Mama Beast, thank you so much. Have a good evening, everyone. And I will see you in the YouTube streets. Good Friday night, everybody.
I don't think that he's good for you.
How do you know what's good for me? That's my opinion! Don't you get it? Why can't anybody have an opinion but you?
That I don't think that he's good. That I don't.